Michigan wins 83-71 at Breslin for the first time in a while. This was a game that Michigan fully deserves credit for. They played very well, especially in that first half. Michigan was up 16 heading into halftime. Could have been 18, but Cohen Carr dunk with about a few seconds left cut the lead to 16 points. And MSU, to their credit, you have to give them a lot of credit for this. They came out fighting in the second half. It was too much, too late for Michigan State. They were able to tie the game. Actually took the lead. I believe it was a 2-point lead with about like a little under like 8 minutes left to go after the 8-minute timeout. Michigan State truly was able to fight back, but this is something that Michigan State has done in the past. It's truly they get down pretty heavily headed into halftime, fight their way all the way back, and then they kind of lose it at the end. Now, Michigan, like I said, deserves a ton of credit for them responding, right? Because Michigan State had all the momentum going in the second half. Truly, it seemed like Michigan State was going to take it. Now, Will Cheddar had a huge three to give Michigan the lead. I believe it was 61-60 at that point, which Michigan, after that, never gave the lead back. Michigan was able to fight through really a pretty difficult second half besides the last 8 minutes. Now, Elliot Cadeau in those last like 4 minutes was absolutely huge for Michigan. I thought Elliot Cadeau, I believe he at least scored or assisted on like over half the points towards the end of the game for Michigan. He was absolutely huge. I thought Elliot Cadeau at times played very, very well. Elliot Cadeau in this game 17 points, 5 for 8 from the field, hit a couple of huge threes as well. He did have a few turnovers with 2, but overall, I thought Elliot Cadeau had a really good game. Yaxel was great in this game. I thought Yaxel was efficient, 6 for 13 at 26 points. His really size and ability to get to the basket, but also shoot a little bit as well, really caused Michigan State issues in this one. Didn't shoot the 3 extremely well, 1 for 4 from 3, but he was able to hit his first 3, and really that was the kind of the shot that got Yaxel Lundenberg going as well. Merez Johnson, he had some moments in this game, 12 points. Ade Mara seemed like he was going to be the go-to guy for Michigan in this game. Got 6 points really early on. Only finished with 8 points in this one. Now, Michigan did shoot 38% from 3. They did force 14 turnovers in this game for MSU. But outside of that, I thought Michigan, especially the way they approached that first half, that defense for Michigan in that first half was really, really good. They were causing Michigan State issues throughout the first half and later on in the game as well, when I think Michigan State started to get a little bit tired. I know Tom Izzo talked about Jackson Kohler playing basically 36 minutes. He's like, that's my fault. I played him way too much. But I thought Michigan defensively in that first half really caused Michigan State quite a few issues. Now, I do think that Michigan also shot from the free throw line really well. They did give up 15 offensive rebounds, but it didn't end up hurting Michigan at the end of the day at all. I believe Michigan State only scored 6 second chance points, which is absolutely crazy, having 15 offensive rebounds in this one. You don't really see that very often. That was one really kind of battle I was going to be interested in watching, the rebounding battle and the turnovers battle. And if you look at just the overall what both of these teams did, Michigan had 13 turnovers, Michigan State had 14 turnovers. You look at rebounding battle as well. Michigan State had 36. Michigan had 36. It was an even battle when it comes to rebounding. And when it came into this game, I thought Michigan State was going to out-rebound Michigan. I thought that Michigan State's offensive glass ability was going to be able to be a really big factor in this. I thought turnovers was going to be a really big factor into this. And at the end of the day, each of them kind of equaled out to each other. And I think that just shows you kind of the talent level that Michigan has, the amount of players that they can hit shots, because that's one thing that Michigan State did not do in this game was hit shots. They were not really effective whatsoever from 3, shot 17% from 3. You can't do that and beat a Michigan team, especially when you're coming back in the second half down 16 points. Shot 37% from the field. Now, Michigan State did shoot pretty well overall when it comes to free throws. If you look at free throw percentage, Michigan State shot 85%, 23 for 27. Michigan shot 88%, 23 for 26. So if you really look at the overall kind of stats, the main difference between these two teams is one, 3-point percentage, which we knew going into this game that Michigan State would have to hit shots. Now, Michigan State has been a little bit better of hitting shots, but you have a guy in Jackson Kohler who's been kind of struggling shooting from the three, shot 2 for 7 from the three in this one. Jeremy Fears went 1 for 5 from the three. Jordan Scott went 1 for 5 from three. Now, I do think Jordan Scott absolutely deserves a ton of credit for this comeback, and this is where I want to kind of move to Michigan State, because I think there needs to be a little bit of conversation about Michigan State in this one, because like I specifically said, this has been kind of an issue for Michigan State in the past, especially past teams recently, is they get down big and then they fight their way back into a game, really truly gave a ton of fight, which is obviously a good thing, right? Like, you want to have a team that fights. It shows you that you're not willing to go down and just lose big. And Michigan State had the opportunity in this game to lose big, and they did lose by 12 points. I do think really kind of obviously the second half tired them out, and I do think that kind of saw really at the end of the game when Michigan State was down 6 with about 4 minutes left to go. You could truly see where Michigan State just didn't have enough legs. Jackson Kohler was short on a three. Michigan State just really never seemed to really gain momentum after that. Like, Michigan State, Jeremy Fears played 35 minutes. Cohen Carr played 34 minutes. Cohen Carr, 10 points in this game. Huge dunk to give Michigan State momentum going into halftime. But Jordan Scott, I truly want to talk a little bit more about Jordan Scott, because Tom Izzo specifically mentioned him in the press conference of how he feels more comfortable with him out there, and how you don't necessarily want to change the starting lineup when things are going well, when you're winning, right? And Michigan State has been winning heading into this game. And I think it's really time to have a conversation that Jordan Scott needs to be playing 26 plus minutes. And I think Jordan Scott needs to be the starter for Michigan State going forward at the two. I think Divine Ugochukwu did not play well whatsoever in this game. I thought offensively he did not play well. I thought defensively he did not play well. I think Jordan Scott starting at the two will give Michigan State a little bit more size. Now, it's going to obviously come with him having to hit shots. I think that's going to be a huge part of it. He went 3 for 7 from the field, like I said, 1 for 5 from three, but he's going to rebound. He's going to play defense. Jordan Scott, I think, gives Michigan State a little bit of a higher ceiling than Divine Ugochukwu. Now, obviously, with that being said, you're going to obviously have to have guys that are going to come in and contribute off the bench. And outside of Jordan Scott, you do have to give Jesse McCulloch a ton of credit. I thought he played 8 solid minutes, didn't score a ton of points, but I thought there was points where he played very well defensively against Ademara. Like I mentioned, Jackson Cole hasn't been playing very well. Did have 12 points, but really kind of continue to see him get tired as the game went on. And like Izzo said, that's kind of on him. Cohen Carr, I specifically mentioned, I thought there was moments where Cohen Carr looked really good. I thought there was moments where Cohen Carr struggled, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You really truly see teams starting to really force Cohen Carr and Jeremy Fears to take shots. Now, I do think Cohen Carr did a little bit better job in the second half attacking the basket at times. I do think that really helped Michigan State get back into the game as well. Carson Cooper definitely struggled in this game. This is not Carson Cooper's best game. I do think Michigan's size obviously really affected Michigan State. You're not going to see a ton of teams that have this type of size. You're not going to see a ton of teams that have the type of talent that Michigan does. Like, Michigan has a ton of size through 1 through 5. Basically, at this point, Carson Cooper, Ademara, Morez Johnson, he couldn't really do very much, and it just was disappointing. I do think Carson Cooper obviously got in foul trouble. I think that truly played a little bit of a factor into this. I do think there were some times where Michigan State had a little bit of momentum in this game, and either like a flagrant foul, a dumb mistake, a dumb turnover, a dumb foul really kind of gave the game back to Michigan. Now, do I think Michigan wasn't the better team? No, I don't think Michigan wasn't the better team. I think they were. I think Michigan was the better team. I think Michigan absolutely deserved this game. Dusty May, I thought, did a really good job of coaching. And I think Michigan State needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit at the two position. And that's why I've been saying Jordan Scott needs to start at the two. Now, I do want to talk about Jeremy Fears. Jeremy Fears in this game, 31 points, new career high, 7 assists, 2 turnovers. 9 for 20 from the field. Jeremy Fears just continues to get better. Jeremy Fears was huge in this game. Jeremy Fears was a reason why Michigan State was even in this game, especially in the second half. When Michigan State can run and when Michigan State has confidence, it's because Jeremy Fears has that, right? Jeremy Fears is going to be the guy that truly stirs the drink, and that's going to be what it's going to be this year. Jeremy Fears needs to get better of like starting out that way. And I think MSU was intimidated at first, and I don't think that necessarily happens too much for MSU, like ever. I think MSU had a little bit of nerves going into this game, and I think you could truly see that. I think MSU will obviously be ready in their next game against Michigan. Obviously, you're going to have to go to Chrysler. You're going to have to win at Chrysler to not get swept. But I think Michigan State wasn't necessarily playing free out there. I think Michigan State did let some open shots go and kind of made it into a little bit tougher shots. Now, I know obviously MSU didn't play extremely well in this game, didn't shoot extremely well, but I thought there was times where like Divine Ugochukwu could come off of a ball screen. And I do know that Michigan obviously has bigger size, right? But like you have to be able to shoot those mid-range jumpers, and you have to take advantage of those. MSU has had issues recently with shot clock violations. And again, full on credit to Michigan for being very well defensively. That's why they're top 2 defense in the country. But truly, you saw Michigan State settle in a little bit in that second half, and it was truly led by Jeremy Fears. And I thought Jeremy Fears in this game, while he can for other fan bases be annoying, especially the way that he plays. It's just Jeremy Fears, right? Like that's the way he's going to play. I do think there's some moments in this game, especially later on in the game. You have to mention the Elliot Cadeau 3 to go up 6 later on in the game with under 4 minutes. Is that sometimes Jeremy Fears just needs to fight through screens. And sometimes he gets those fouls, sometimes he doesn't. And he did. And Elliot Cadeau hit a big 3 to really kind of clinch the game for Michigan. At that point, it seemed like it was going to be in. Obviously, as the night went on, there was moments here and there, but I don't want to talk too bad about Jeremy Fears because I thought Jeremy Fears was by far the best player for Michigan State. I thought he was the only player, especially in the first half, that came prepared, that truly seemed like he wanted to be there, that truly seemed like he understood what was going on. And that was a little bit of disappointment, but at the end of the day, this isn't a win for Michigan State. This is a loss for Michigan State, and Michigan State's going to have to learn from it. Michigan State's going to have to get better. I think there's obviously going to be changes to the starting lineup. Basically, Tom Izzo basically said that there's going to be changes to the starting lineup. I think Jordan Scott needs to be the starting 2. I think Michigan State just truly needs to go to that point. And then if you're Michigan, this is a huge win, right? Like Dusty May heading into this game was 0-2 against Tom Izzo, 0-2 against Michigan State. They went into Breslin, which, like I said, the intro, Michigan hasn't done too often in one. This is a Michigan team that went to Breslin and played well. And I think there was moments, especially in the second half, that Michigan showed resiliency. And I think that's just truly what this Michigan team is. They're a really, really talented team. They're a team that has a ton of talent, a team that has a ton of size, a team that was really well prepared heading into this game. And because of that, they were able to win by 12. Now, do I know exactly what's going to happen at Chrysler? No, I don't. I don't know. But I think Michigan State will come better prepared. I think this Michigan team, obviously at home, has been really good. I know they've lost to Wisconsin at home, but that was because Wisconsin shot the lights out. Michigan State in this game did not shoot the lights out. They were not able to defend Breslin. Now Michigan State has lost 2 games to some of the best teams in the country in Duke and Michigan. Michigan gets a big rivalry win. They really, really need this. It's been kind of a rivalry that Michigan State has dominated most recently, but it's a really good win for Michigan, really good win for Dusty May. Really showed you kind of the talent that Michigan has. I think Michigan just has a little bit more than Michigan State, at least step-wise, than the Spartans did, and I think you truly saw that. Now, I think you saw that Michigan State can compete with some of the top teams in the country. They just need to continue to improve. They need to continue to hit shots. They need to get more out of the 2 position. I think it starts with Jordan Scott, the 2. But good win for Michigan, 12-point win against Michigan State. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like this, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think of this game? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? I think both of these teams are really, really good. And I think both of these teams will continue to be fighting for the Big Ten. I think both of these teams will do really well in the tournament. I think Michigan's really, really talented. They deserve the win. I think Michigan State's going to go back to the drawing board. I think they're really talented. They just need to find a little bit more. But we will see what happens. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode, and tune in to the next one.